Peace and greetings, YouTube family. I've made it to 3 years off the grid.
I hope you find serenity. I hope you find serenity.
I've made a few videos lately about my off-grid journey, but a tradition that I have is after completing each year here that I've done a video. So you can find 1 year off-grid, 2 years off-grid, and now this is our 3-year off-grid anniversary video. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Serenity, and I've been living here in Costa Rica since 2017, since I graduated college, and I've been here on my farm since April 30th, 2022. Today is August 2nd. Is it the 2nd or is it the 1st? I believe it's the 2nd. Yes, August 2nd, 2025. So I'm actually like 3 years and 3 months off grid officially, but this is the perfect time to do this video because I'm officially transitioning out of my off-grid little cabin and moving to a place that I am going to be renting for the next few months while we tear down this cabin and build a real home. If you want to know more about why that is happening, you can check out my video. I'm leaving my off-grid farm. So yes, I've been still coming back every day and just cleaning, clearing, taking stuff. There's still more to go. You guys, it's such a journey moving. It's not my favorite thing to do. I can't lie. I don't love moving. There's so much stuff in this cabin and it's like, wow. I can't believe I have so much stuff. But I've had some support from friends helping me move my things to this place I'm renting now in town. And basically, like, the short version of the long story, which you can watch in the other video, is basically that this cabin has a lot of issues. There's a lot of bugs in the wood, and a lot of the wood is degrading, especially the roof pieces. And I've just reached a point where I really need a better living situation. So I have the desire to build basically like a sturdy, complete home right here in the same spot, so that when I'm inviting people for retreats, when I'm inviting volunteers, even just having friends over, that I have a sturdy space with even an extra bedroom to hold people. A lot of people who have come to volunteer have camped out. And shout out to everyone who's been here and who has seen it while it's been like this, or who have seen it even before I had a floor, because people have been rocking with me from the very beginning, from before there was a bathroom, before there was a floor, before there was even a real roof. There was just a piece of plastic tarp up there. So I appreciate everyone who has come and shown love in all of the different stages, and it's time for a new stage. I personally am a life path 3, so it feels right that after 3 years of roughing it, that it's officially time to basically have a real big, huge level upgrade. But that's not what this video is about. I just wanted to give y'all kind of a background of where I'm at currently, because yes, I've made it to 3 years off grid, but I'm also in the middle of a transition right now. But I want to talk a little bit about some of the pros and cons to living off grid and what the journey has been like so far for me, especially for those of you who may be new to my channel and are like, who is this girl? Why is she living off grid? And you know, it all happened by accident, y'all. I'm not like someone who was researching off-grid living or who was super interested in that type of lifestyle when I came here. When I originally moved to Costa Rica, it wasn't to buy land and live in nature and all these things. It was because I studied Spanish in university and I wanted to live in a Spanish-speaking country. I visited Costa Rica once before moving here for a volunteer program. And this is an easy country to fall in love with because of just how impeccable the nature is here. It's absolutely gorgeous. And people are very friendly and they have a high rate of happiness. So in general, people are in a pretty good mood in Costa Rica. So when you move around, it's very easy to like have a better mood because people aren't so rude. You know, you might have your little interactions here and there, but for the most part, people are very kind and friendly. And I don't just mean Costa Ricans. Also, especially the foreigners who are living here from all over the world, very friendly, very open-minded. very like in tune with nature. And I think being in tune with nature can really just kind of brighten the spirit of a person when they spend a lot of time outside, get plenty of vitamin D, and drinking good water, drinking coconut water. All these things really like they're good for the health. So because people are healthier and people are spending more time outside, people are happier here. So when I came to Costa Rica, I really, really fell in love with it. And a lot of opportunities were opening up too. It was obvious that it was for me because opportunities were just coming to me, opportunities to work. When I first moved here, I worked as a tour guide with groups from high school, middle school, and sometimes college that would come to Costa Rica and do like either a 2-week trip or a 1-month trip, traveling around the country. And they would either be doing volunteer work or they'd be learning Spanish. And I got to work with them and basically be kind of like a liaison between the Costa Rican company and whatever the school or program was from the States. And yeah, I got the opportunity to go on any type of tour you can think of in Costa Rica. I got to do it. Stay in hotels and experiencing all different parts of Costa Rica. I've been to every province of Costa Rica thanks to this job. So that opportunity really also kind of set the tone for my time here. It helped me to improve my Spanish. I speak Spanish very well. I even teach Spanish. And also I got the opportunity to just explore the country and for free because I was working. So everything was paid for, transportation, hotel room, food, it was all covered. Plus I got paid a small stipend for my work. So that's how my journey in Costa Rica began. And from there I continued on. I also came here and got my TEFL, which is teaching English as a foreign language. I did that through International TEFL Academy. And I began teaching English, which is something I've always wanted to be a teacher. I like teaching. I have the perfect personality for teaching. I'm really good at explaining things, being clear, and also keeping it light, keeping it fun. So since I got here, I have been teaching. In the beginning, I was teaching at a language school. Now I just teach on and off, kind of like sometimes at people's homes, sometimes in the local library. But basically, that's how my journey in Costa Rica began. That's what I've been up to since being in Costa Rica. And I did briefly leave. I went to Spain to get my master's degree in bilingual education, but I only spent 11 months outside of Costa Rica. So it was a 9-month master's program, 1 school year. And I spent that time in Spain. I spent maybe a month or 2 in the States in between. And then I came back because I really missed Costa Rica. When I went to Europe, I thought, oh, I'm going to live like my European fantasy. You know, I'm just going to travel around Europe. You know, I'm a world traveler, la, la, la. But actually, I really missed Costa Rica, and it came up a lot for me while I was in Europe. So I came right back. And since being back, well, I came back at the very end of 2019. No idea what was about to happen with COVID. I had no idea. Like, I had vaguely heard about it, but I'm the type of person, like, I don't really take big news stories seriously in the beginning. I take a while to catch on to things because I just don't care that much. And so I really wasn't taking that seriously. Like, I had briefly heard about it and it seemed like it was something on the other side of the world that wasn't going to touch us. So I really wasn't expecting anything from it. When I came back, I worked for the same company, but this time I worked in one of their hotels. So I worked as a receptionist in a hotel in this area called Flamingo Beach, Costa Rica. And then COVID really hit and we all lost our jobs and I was just looking for something to do. And I found these 2 incredible women from the Holy Haven, which I'm constantly telling y'all to go follow and show love to my besties at the Holy Haven. I'm constantly, and I will never be done advocating for just like the quality of work that these 2 women do in the healing space, and they inspired me. So coming down here to the Osa Peninsula to do a Holy Haven retreat, which is a completely donation-based retreat, that's what really opened the door for me. Sorry, y'all, I got interrupted because I ran out of space. It was time to clear some space. That resonates so deep. So yes, I was inspired by the Holy Haven. These 2 women have property, which is where they host their retreats. And they were the ones who originally kind of inspired me to see the fact that, oh, I could have property in Costa Rica. Like, I was content with just living here, and I didn't make any long-term plans, even though I knew I loved Costa Rica and I wanted to stay. I really didn't know how that was going to look. I was content with just renting. But that showed me like, oh, I could have property and then it's mine forever. And that really, really like changed the chemistry of my brain. So I love being able to be that representation now for all of you, to know that, oh, you could buy property in another country. And even as I advocate for this, buying property, I want to be wary with this kind of language, because we cannot own land. I don't really believe in land ownership or in some way having any kind of like authority over the land. You know, God is the highest authority and the land is the highest authority. But basically what I've done is I've paid to be put into an agreement with the system here to say that, hey, I can steward this land, meaning I can care for this land and be the person that's kind of like in charge of what is built here and different things like that. So it's a privilege and I don't take it lightly. And my impact on the land is really important to me, which is why once I finally got land, it took me about a year of time where I was kind of looking around, just deciding, seeing my options, and I found this property that just the moment I stepped onto it, I was like, yeah, this is the one. This is the one for me. But I realized like, wow, I don't want to be super invasive. I mean, it's taken me 3 years before I'm even going to build a real house. So most of the wood that is in this house, this cabin, came from the land itself, from fallen trees that were dead on the property, and some from a forest just up the road. But everything is local. Of course, I have like mesh walls, so that I had to buy at the construction store, and the roof pieces I had to buy, and then of course the concrete. So there are some unnatural materials being used. However, when I got the land, I just wanted to be as minimalistic as possible. So I started small. I started with just the wood and a plastic roof, and I was living in a tent. And then little by little, we added on project after project. There was a point where we only had half a floor and the other half was all rocks and dirt. And yeah, that was because along the way, I've just been learning. Like I said, I didn't do a whole bunch of research. People are constantly sending me, other building processes, natural building processes that can be used in different things. But it's like, I'm no construction person. I'm not really a builder. And whatever process I choose, I'm going to need real guidance and support and the funds to be able to pay people to guide me and also to do the project pretty much. Like, I was very involved in this project as far as like helping to build, and I didn't do a good job. I wanted to be a part of it for the experience, and I'm so grateful that I was a part of it. But I only learned that it is not my forte. It is not my skill set. And I'm super grateful. However, I didn't do a good job. Anything that I did on my own, and you can go back and watch, I have a whole land stewarding vlog series and see me like laying concrete with friends, or in one part I laid the concrete all by myself. And that's why we got to start over anyway, because I didn't know what I was doing. So I do appreciate everyone who sends me research, and since starting this project, I have definitely looked deeper into natural building, which is something I'm very interested in. But even with that, I can't do that by myself. And I'm not even interested in doing that by myself. If I'm going to build something with all natural materials, I need a person who is like the lead on the project, who has real life experience, hands-on experience doing that kind of work. And I haven't aligned with that person here in this area yet. So this house that we're about to build is going to be done with, typical building materials like concrete and these things and metal. Also, the intense storms that we have here, I've seen how wood does not last. Wood does not last around here unless you're constantly treating it. So yeah, I decided that I'm just going to do a sturdy home that I know will stay here for the rest of time pretty much. And then after that's up and I have like a comfortable, secure kind of headquarters, then I would like to work on some natural building projects with volunteers, with guidance from people who are experienced. But in order to do those projects, I first of all need a comfortable place for myself to lay my head and rest, and also for the people who come to have a place to rest while we're working on different building projects. So that's still a dream of mine. And the great thing about having land is there's no rush in anything. There is literally no rush at all. I can do that project 10 years from now, 7 years from now, 5 years from now. The parrots are passing. There's no rush to do anything. I have a 2-acre property and most of it is untouched forest land, which you see behind me. So there's space down there as well to build and do things, do stuff. So over time, I would like to engage in all sorts of different projects with the support of community, of course. I'm also living here alone, of course, with my dogs, but I'm the only person who is full-time here. And yeah, it's a lot of work. So as I get volunteers and as I get support and as I have funding in order to do larger projects, I will do those things. I will, and I will share it here on this YouTube platform. So I'm looking forward to all that can come. And that's one of the best things about a project like this where you're stewarding land is like land is so infinite. There's so much that you can do with it, that there's infinite possibilities, opportunities for creativity, and there's just options as far as what you could do. So yeah, there's really no rush in any of the different projects that are coming to y'all's mind, like, oh, she could do this or she could do that. It's like I trust me when I say I've thought about it and I want to do it. And even like with this project, just getting this cabin up was a whole process, because I spent all my savings, getting the property and getting the cabin up. So now we're kind of back at square one as far as like fundraising and raising money from just what I'm teaching and when I'm giving inner child healing sessions and things like that, and when I offer retreats. So taking the money that I have and putting that towards building, again, headquarters. I'm talking a sturdy piece of work that I just have to worry about cleaning it. I don't have to worry about everything falling apart all the time. Once I have that and those basic needs are met, then I can branch out beyond survival mode. Because right now it's like there's no running water, there's no electricity. The house is falling apart. It's not sturdy when there's storms. So I don't really have safe, comfortable shelter, which is one of my most basic needs. And since that need is not being met, it's hard to think about doing all these other things. And then people want to come, and I've let so many people come along this journey. But right now I'm like, I can't handle like holding space for people when I can't even hold space for myself. So let me create first a really strong, stable place to exist and be in. And from this place, now let's branch out and let's do more things out here on the land. So hopefully by 2026, I'll be open again to receiving volunteers and hosting retreats on the land again and all these things. But for now, the whole focus of this property is to tear down this cabin and build a real house. That's what I'm up to here on my off-grid farm. For those of you who don't know what off-grid means, it basically means that I'm not plugged into the city water or electricity. I did share about this in my I'm leaving my off-grid farm video, that I don't know if I'm going to stay off-grid. I'm looking into, because I had a solar system, but I don't even feel like telling the story again and again. I've told it in so many videos, but basically I had 2 different inverters. You need like panel, batteries, inverter for a basic solar system. I've had 2 inverters break. Also because of just like they're in the open air and bugs are getting inside and breaking it, and they were expensive, so I didn't fix the second inverter after it broke. I've just been living without electricity because it's honestly so normal and not a big deal for me. But I would like to have electricity again. I was considering connecting to the local electricity, but I'm thinking that I'm actually just going to update my solar. I found a new company nearby who has solar, who installs solar systems. So I'm looking into that option so that I could have my power be completely solar, because it's like an upfront investment to get the panels and get everything set up. But from there, you don't have to keep paying for electricity, which would be awesome. Electricity is really cheap in Costa Rica, and it's mostly green energy, even when you're looking at the actual grid. However, it would be nice to remain independent in that respect. Now, as far as the water, I am considering connecting to the local water because we have a new one that's just been connected on my street. It comes from this mountain here that's up the road, and it's good, clean water. They don't mess with it like they do in the town. As far as like in the town, people are putting like chlorine in the water they call themselves cleaning the water, but they're making it worse. But that's not happening here in my neighborhood. It's local water the water for the neighborhood comes from the neighborhood. So because of that being the source, I've already looked into it and even put in an application to connect water. I'm just waiting for approval. So I'm not going to stay completely off grid. The whole purpose of being off grid is to not rely on the city for your resources. I do have water on the land, which I had for a long time been pumping, but I had so many problems with my water pump. If you like are a regular here, you know I've shared about it before. But I just had so many issues with that. And even having better electricity could lead to me having an electric pump rather than I had a gas powered pump because I was doing it without electricity. So I'm going to start with the power, see about getting solar reconnected for this new house. And if I have a good source of power, then I will consider getting a new pump and continuing to pump water from the well or from the river on the land to have some off-grid water available. But I think there's nothing wrong with being connected to the local water because I do know the source of that water. And also water is it's life. Water is life. So that's something you have to think about if you're going to be off-grid. It's like, where's your water going to come from? And how are you going to be using it sustainably so that you're not overtaking as far as how much water you're using? That takes a lot of water. It takes a lot of water to maintain a pool. So I'm just one woman living alone with my dogs. So there's not a whole, it's quite a bit of water that even I need, but not nearly as much as what would be needed if I was maintaining like a pool, a jacuzzi, all these different things that are just a bit wasteful when you think about just as much as like the use of this local water. And it would also be very nice to set up a rainwater catchment because we do get a lot of rain in the rainy season. So that's something else that I'm looking into. But once I have the new house built, then I'll have like a place from which the rainwater can be caught. So I'm looking into that, but I'm still going to connect to the local water. So some things about my off-grid life are changing. I may have to change how I'm titling my videos and these different things. But I can say for a fact that I have lived for 3 years of my life completely off the grid, completely in the cut, out the way, very rustic, rough around the edges. So that's pretty much my off-grid journey. Like I said, I'm not really here to teach y'all necessarily about off-grid living. I'm just here to be a testimony, to be witnessed in my very raw, very authentic, unplanned journey to off-grid living. And I'm not attached to staying off-grid for my entire life at all. However, I see the value in just knowing where your source of water and electricity are coming from. And I see the value in knowing how to access these things in case for some reason the system goes down and it's no longer possible to get things from the city. So I do think it's extremely valuable to know, especially if you're living in a place like Costa Rica, that's very lush and very abundant with resources, right? There's plenty of sun, there's plenty of rain, there's plenty of what God already provided to us that can be used to live. You might not even realize just how much water you need and how much water you're using. And you probably, more than likely, if you're living in the West, have no idea where your water even comes from. If you're living in an apartment building, every single apartment, everyone's turning on the sink and water's coming out. Where's that water coming from and how much of it is being used? And based on that use, how, depleted is that source of water now? So that's why it's so important to get back into nature and to see with your own eyes, oh, this is where my water is coming from. I see that, the river is lower this year than it was last year. That means we must be, depleting this source a bit more than is necessary. Let's see how we can use less water, or how we can find another source of water, or how we can collect the rainwater, because that is quite abundant and it's literally falling from the sky for us to use. Right? So it is really valuable stuff. I highly recommend having an off-grid experience, even if you're not feeling like you're about that life to live full-time off the grid. At least experiencing it can show you oh, it's possible to live differently than I'm living, to live without certain luxuries, to live more in tune with nature. And even living without electricity. Some people are so shocked that I live without electricity and how I've been without it for so long. And I'm like, that's the least of my worries. The water is way more important than the electricity, especially because it's not like I'm never using electricity. Obviously I have a phone, I just go other places to charge. I just go and I use that resource somewhere else where it's already connected. I just go and I just use Wi-Fi where it's already connected, so it's more communal. It's more like I go to a community space to use these resources rather than also having it for myself. And that's changing, I'm about to have electricity again, but that's why I'm also looking into having solar, so that it's let's use the electricity that we already have. There's plenty of power hitting this house every single day. It's just about creating the system to collect that power, hold that power so that it can be used. And that is so representative for us, right? And for this life, finding ways that we can absorb and maintain the power and the resources that we are organically given, that we organically are, so that they can be used to maintain sustainable living. So yeah, I'm really grateful for everything I've been learning. It has not been easy. It has not been easy all the time. Some things are easy, but some things are a challenge. So if you're the type of person who doesn't want to deal with any challenges at all, I don't recommend this lifestyle for you. There's definitely things that come up, and it can be frustrating and even upsetting sometimes when certain things go wrong, or when you're dealing with things breaking or needing repair. It's not always fun, right? But that's life. I think no matter what lifestyle you're living, it's not always going to be fun, and there's always going to be challenges. So it's pick your poison. What's your challenge going to be? I've chosen mine, and I have no regrets about the challenges that I've chosen to face, to overcome, to grow through. And I feel stronger because of it. I really do. I really feel mentally as well as physically stronger because of this lifestyle. So thank you so much for listening. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comment section. And please check out some of my other videos if you're new here and you're curious. I have been documenting everything. I have been documenting this whole entire journey. So check out my vlog series. Check out some of my other videos about living off grid, and let me know what you think. Let me know, is this triggering for you, or is it inspiring for you, or is it both? I would love to hear your thoughts. Much love, and of course, I hope you find serenity.
Hope you find